Okay, so let's finish up evidence 2, adjustments. I shrunk the text so you could see it all. Sorry. I keep forgetting that my face is going to be in the corner. I'm sorry. This is still so weird. All right, so knowing that we can earn 1 evidence 2 point for supporting our thesis with 2 documents, and knowing that we can earn another evidence 2 point if we can support our argument with evidence from the documents, 4 documents. Here's what this tells me. It is now possible for you to leave out a document, right? You get 5, but if one of them you don't understand or you can't make it fit into your argument, you could just say, you know what? I'm not going to use it. This would also be great if you're feeling like you're running out of time, okay? So if you choose to just use 4 of the documents, and all 4 you do evidence 2 with, cool, 2 points. But if you only have 4 documents in your essay, and let's say you mess up one time, you could still get 1 evidence 2 point for supporting your thesis with 2 of the documents, okay? Now, obviously, if you feel like you can use all 5 documents, go for it. But it's just the way they're doing this partial credit, like you can get 1 point for 2 documents and 2 points for 4 documents. What this tells me is you don't have to use every document to avoid taking this big risk or this big gamble like you used to on the original rubric. So this gives you a little bit more freedom. If there's a document you don't understand or you can't make it fit, don't use it. It's fine, okay? Earning evidence 3. How to do it hasn't changed. This is a skill that we are going to have to do a lot of practice on in the next few weeks, because to be honest with you, we haven't spent a ton of time on it, and we're not very good at it yet, all right? Evidence 3 looks the same. You have to use outside evidence to support your thesis. You're not merely dropping in some facts that you know that are, related to the topic of the prompt, but instead you are tying this outside fact that you know to your thesis in a way that supports your argument, supports your thesis. Some people like to tell their students to go ahead and pretend that whatever outside evidence you've come up with is itself a document. So you need to describe it for evidence 1, and then you need to explicitly state how it supports your argument, your thesis, to get credit for doing evidence 3, okay? Usually what I see students do is tell me something that they know without actually connecting it to their thesis. My AP World History students, you guys recently wrote a DBQ about African responses to European imperialism. Some really great outside evidence for that could have been the Xhosa cattle killing movement, where there was an African prophetess who said that the gods told her if they killed all of their cattle, the gods would come down and they would basically just physically push all the European colonizers out of Africa. One of the arguments that you should have made in that DBQ was that African responses to European imperialism that were based on religion were only occasionally successful. For example, Ethiopia really made a big deal about how they were a Christian nation when interacting with the European colonizers. And so in the end, they stay independent. They're not colonized. So it worked for Ethiopia. It did not work for the Xhosa. The gods did not kick all the Europeans out after the cattle were killed. And in fact, killing the cattle led to a famine among the Xhosa, which just made it easier for Europeans to take them over. Now, we're doing complexity in that same argument. The other reason why the Ethiopians kept their independence was they were very well armed. They managed to get a hold of the same amount and quality of gunpowder weapons that the Italian army had who was trying to colonize them. So religious responses to European imperialism only worked for the Africans when they were coupled with advanced modern day gunpowder weapons in large numbers, just like the Europeans had. Okay. Anyway, how to earn evidence 3, it hasn't changed. But how it's scored has changed. And this is why I want you to try this twice, once per body paragraph. You can earn 1 point for outside evidence if you do this well one time, but you can earn a second point if you do this well a second time. And so I feel really strongly that the time period acronyms that we created last class period and your study guides can support you in earning evidence 3, because the acronyms and the study guides can jog your memory about information that's not included in the documents, right? That Scramble for Africa DBQ, there was no document about the Xhosa cattle killing movement. So that's what made it great outside evidence. Students had to remember learning about it to bring it in as outside evidence, okay? Now, here's the word of caution. Make sure whatever you're using from the time period acronyms and from your study guides, you are translating into your own words. Don't copy paste out of your study guides, okay? Because that could lead you to getting flagged for plagiarism, especially my AP World kids, because you are forced into copying my study guide, which would not be a bad thing in the original AP exam, but could be problematic on this modified version, okay? So evidence 3 is now do it twice, get 2 points, okay? Oh man, happy is so crazy. Okay, this is one place on the rubric that, man, if they would keep this change, it would be amazing. This is my favorite change on the modified rubric. Happy is happening the same way. You still pick one of these 4 ways to source a document: historical situation, audience, purpose, or point of view. Okay, I often do audience and purpose together. Then, why is that relevant? So what? Who cares about the historical situation? Well, here's why you should care. Here's why it matters to what I'm doing with these documents, okay? So here's the scoring change. If you do happy correctly with one document, you get a point. If you do it correctly with a second document, you get a second point. This is amazing. This is such a great change to the rubric. So first, only attempt happy twice in your essay. I wouldn't bother with a third one. You just don't have enough time. But do it right twice, okay? And out of 5 documents, chances are there should be 2 documents that jump out at you and say, man, audience and purpose, they matter here. Or, man, this author's point of view, their worldview is so focused on this is how things are and how they should always be that they're not looking at these other things. Or my favorite, here's what this author is saying at this time, and here's what's going on globally at the time that they're saying this. Here's why this historical situation matters to why this author is saying what they're saying, okay? So do happy twice. I would probably do it once per body paragraph, but if both of the documents you want to do happy with fall into the same body paragraph, do it twice. There, who cares? But do it twice, do it well, and you could get up to 2 points. So we're going to be doing a lot of happy practice, just like we're going to be doing a lot of evidence 2 and evidence 3 practice, because those points are our big money makers, right? We can earn a lot of points, 6 points from evidence 2, evidence 3, and happy. That's crazy. 6 points is a ton of points. So we want to practice these skills to get you feeling more comfortable about doing them. I know on the original exam, I always tell you, if you're good at happy, do it. If you're not good at happy, don't bother at all. But that has completely changed now because you get 1 point every time you do it right, up to 2 points. So it's not an all or nothing thing anymore. I love this change. This is great for DBQ writers. So Thursday night, we first learned that it would be a modified DBQ with 5 documents. Friday, the College Board sent out their version of the rubric. And by Saturday, teachers in the AP World and AP Euro communities that I'm a part of were sending and sharing all of their wisdom and their interpretation of what had been shared. So this is a Tom Ritchie rubric. I think it's kind of cool. It applies for World and Euro. So you could take a look at this if you want to. If you have access to a printer at home, you could print this out if you wanted to. But I also wanted to make you just a checklist that you could really easily copy down on a piece of paper if you, like me, do not have access to a printer at home, because who owns printers? Oh, not me. I really should get one, because now that we're going to do the rest of the school year like this, we might need that. This is so sad. I miss you guys so much. I drove by West yesterday after I heard that we weren't going to reopen, and I just looked at the building I was like, I miss my kids. It was sad. Lydia was in the back seat and she's like, we gotta go see the kids. And I'm like, the kids aren't in there. She didn't understand. She just believes that you guys all live at school. So she's really confused by that. Anyway, sorry, the checklist. How are we doing on time? Oh, okay, let's go. This is what I want you to copy down on a piece of lined paper so that for the rest of our school year, every time we do a practice modified DBQ, you can refer to this. And then most importantly, on the day we take our actual AP test, you want this in front of you as a checklist to remind you of what you need to include, okay? Start off with that context paragraph. Use your time period acronyms to jog your memory and help you remember what to write about. Make sure you end that paragraph with your relevance sentence, connecting it to the topic of the prompt. Follow that up with your thesis paragraph. This is just 3 sentences long. You are restating the prompt. It doesn't even have to be restated in your own words. You can just restate it from the prompt. Then your first argument, then your second argument, 3 sentences total, okay? Having this thesis is the key to earning the points that follow, all right? I'm gonna write a body paragraph. In this body paragraph, I'm gonna start with a topic sentence that is going to restate the half of my thesis that I am proving in this paragraph. Maybe I've chosen 2 documents of the 5 to use here. So for those 2 documents, I'm going to do evidence 1, describe the document in a way that's relevant to the prompt. And evidence 2, I'm going to show my reader how what that document says supports my argument. For one of the documents in this paragraph, I'm going to do happy. I'm going to pick one of the sourcing methods and explain the so what behind that information. For the second document in that paragraph, I'm going to do evidence 1 and evidence 2. I don't have to do happy again. Finally, I'm going to wrap up this paragraph with a piece of outside evidence. I'm going to describe the outside evidence and I'm going to show my reader how it supports my thesis. Okay? What this means is when this paragraph is done, I have earned 1 evidence 1 point. I have earned 1 evidence 2 point. I have earned 1 happy point, and I have earned 1 outside evidence point. Remember, I've already earned my context and my thesis. I have 6 points before I even go to my second body paragraph. That's awesome. All right, so that second body paragraph, I'm going to do the same thing over. The 2, maybe 3 documents I'm using in this paragraph will, start that topic sentence. Don't forget that topic sentence. Then evidence 1, evidence 2, and happy for one of the documents here. Evidence 1, evidence 2 for the other document here. Maybe I use the 3rd document. Maybe I don't. Kind of depends on how time is going and if I really feel like I need it. Get that other outside evidence sample in there. And I've got 9 points now. That's crazy. A conclusion paragraph is completely optional. If your thesis sucked the first time around, you could restate it, reword it, make it better in your conclusion paragraph. But it's all going to come down to time. I'd rather you finish that second outside evidence attempt than write a conclusion, because if you've already got your thesis point, that conclusion isn't going to matter. But if you don't have your thesis point, then maybe you should write that, right? It's up to you. Okay, so things that I don't know yet are coming in the last video. So finish writing on this checklist and then check out my last video.